More now ahead of the World Cup semi-final between Morocco and France. The Moroccans have already made history by becoming the first African side to reach the last four of the tournament. But can they go on and win it? Let's speak to African football journalist Mimi Fawaz. Good to see you again, Mimi. I mean, when we first had you on earlier in the tournament, you did have Morocco as your dark horses to win it. I sat next to you in the studio before the game, and you also said you just had a feeling. Are you feeling quite smug about that now?
Haley, I know there was the octopus, so I guess I'm the secret octopus, I guess, for this world. For this World Cup, I mean, I'm just really happy, to be honest with you, to see an African team and an Arab country as well through to the semi-finals for the first time in World Cup history. And if you've been following, I guess, if people have been following Morocco coming into the competition, they have a very good defensive record in a short time that Walid Regragui was in charge. So I'm not terribly surprised that they have done as well as they have, especially defensively.
Can you put into words, I mean, how big an occasion it actually is for Morocco and I guess African football in general too?
It's absolutely huge all across Africa. Football fans, Senegalese football fans, even fans in Nigeria, where I'm from, and from across Africa have been saying how this is really massive for Africa. Having a country, an Arab country, an African country getting this far in the competition, it shows how well the African football is doing and how it's developing, and as well, hopefully, having more investment and infrastructures on the continent in Africa, across the FAs on the continent, who can be inspired by what Morocco have done. They've been investing in their football, both in the men's and women's competition. So it's really good for the continent. It's really good for the Arab world. And it's really great for Morocco to see that all the efforts they've put at the grassroots levels and the Mohammed VI complex that they have is now paying dividends for them.
I mean, we have seen, as you've touched on there, players celebrating with their mothers. It's been so lovely to see so many of these pictures all over social media as well. Tell us about the atmosphere and the camaraderie in the camp.
After many of the big wins that they've had, you've seen, for example, Achraf Hakimi, each time looking for his mother in the stands, hugging her, kissing her. We also saw as well Soufiane Boufal. He was dancing on the pitch as well after their last match with his mother, you know, getting through this far in the competition. So it's been a really great family atmosphere. Walid Regragui as well had his mother come. His mom, it was reported, hasn't really traveled out of France because she's based in France for, I think, 50 years or so. But Walid Regragui really wanted her to be there to watch him as well as they're making history. So you saw him as well going into the stands, hugging and kissing his mother. So it's been such a great family atmosphere that the FA have done. They've decided to bring the families around the team camp. And as we can see, as people said online, a mother's prayers. There's nothing greater than a mother and a mother's blessings. And we can see how well they're doing in the competition.
Absolutely. They've given us so much and they're giving back now as well. A lovely story. Hakim Ziyech has given his World Cup bonuses to the poor in Morocco. I mean, what does that say about the spirit among the players?
I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's all about community, isn't it? And about giving back to your country and helping the less privileged. And that's what Hakim Ziyech has been doing since, about 2015, I think it is. He always gives his money that he makes for Morocco whenever he plays for the national team to help the less privileged in his community in Morocco. And I think that really says a lot about this team, the spirit that they have, the spirit that they have for their country, for Morocco, for Africa, for the Arab world, to unite so many together. And we're seeing that.
You've touched on, I mean, just how incredibly defensively they've done. Tactics-wise, how has Walid Regragui just made Morocco so hard to beat?
Many teams have found it hard, haven't they, to break the defense of Morocco. As I said, they've kept such a great defensive record throughout the competition. They actually haven't lost a single match, and as well teams themselves, opponents, have not been able to score against Morocco. That one goal that was conceded in the match in Canada in the group stage was actually an own goal. So Spain found it very difficult breaking down Morocco. They had a lot of possession with the ball, over 1,000, of course, passes that they made in that match, thinking that they would be able somehow then to break that defense, but they weren't able to do it. We also saw with Portugal, they were unable to break the defense of Morocco, as well as Belgium. So Walid Regragui is a masterful tactician. We also have to give him credit for that. And he's spoken a lot about how maybe European journalists, and in Europe, we talk about how it should be more of possession football. And there was a bit of criticism from some of the Spanish players in terms of how Morocco played. But he said, why? It should be different. We can also play different tactics. It doesn't have to always be just about possession football. And we've seen now Morocco, they've let the opposition, a lot of the matches, have possession, because that's been their tactics, to sit back, be strong defensively, and then find those little pockets and counter attacks where they can be very dangerous against their opponents, which they've done.
And Mimi, Morocco, they're missing Walid Chadira, aren't they? This was after his red card against Portugal. I mean, he was a substitute anyway, but they do have some injury concerns, don't they? What do you know about that?
Yes, as well as we've spoken about how strong they are defensively. Mazraoui as well missed the last match, and as well Aguerd missed that match. It doesn't look like Aguerd will be available for this match. It doesn't seem like he trained with the team yesterday. Of course, we'll have to wait for later on when the team sheet comes out. Mazraoui seems to be fine now. He had a bit of a stomach bug, but he seemed to have been back in training yesterday. And the captain, Romain Saïss, as well, let's not forget, he as well was injured. He took part in some light training yesterday with the team, so we'll have to wait and see if he could possibly be taking part in today's game or not.
And do you think Morocco's run will give more belief to other nations outside Europe and South America, do you think?
Absolutely. We've also seen how very well Asian teams have done in this competition. We know Japan have been one of the wonderful stories that we've seen at this World Cup. So I think it's showing that African and Asian confederations as well are really making a mark in this competition. Is not just being dominated by European and South American sides. And for Africa specifically, I think this will hopefully inspire African football federations to invest more at the grassroots levels, and as well when they have foreign players coming over to play in the countries, to have proper facilities around. Like we've seen in Morocco, they have the Mohammed VI complex, which has a fantastic facilities, hotels for the players to stay in. So I've seen some African FAs talk about the success of Morocco and that their countries as well can do what Morocco has. But I feel they can only do it if they invest in the game like Morocco have done.
And just finally, go on then, Octopus. Give us a prediction. How do you think it's going to go?
I know I'm an octopus so far in this competition. Everybody seems to tell me that. Well, it's going to be a very tight one, of course, Hayley. There's a big history between both sides historically, but as well, both sides have a lot of talented players. We've seen as well with France, Antoine Griezmann has been, apart from Mbappe, one of the standout stars for France, creating those opportunities and playing a different role for them. So I think it's going to be very tough. They're going to come across the Moroccan side. They're very good defensively. And Morocco are going to come across the side of France that are very good as well, have a lot of that pace, as we've seen with like Mbappe, Dembele and them. So it will be a side of who can break the defense of the other, or who can attack, do the counter-attack and get that win.
Mimi, it's been a pleasure. Enjoy it. Good luck. And yeah, we'll look forward to speaking to you tomorrow and see how it all pans out. Thank you.
Thank you.